Switching from service-based company to product-based company is not about luck. It's about following the right steps. There is a big myth that people working in service-based company or small companies cannot move into product-based organization. And that's not completely true. In this video, based on my experience, I will break down the exact steps that you need to follow to make that transition with confidence. Before talking about switching, you must clearly understand what a service-based company actually looks like. A service-based company works for clients and clients pay the company for services and employees deliver those services. Some of the service-based companies are like TCS, Infosys, Tech Mahindra or Accenture. Usually have higher workload, client-driven deadlines, repetitive tasks and limited deep learning opportunities. A product-based company builds its own product and sell it to the users or businesses. For example, Google it has its own product, like YouTube. Amazon has its own cloud platform. They have their own product in the shopping domain. They have their own shopping website. Netflix is another organization. So product-based companies typically, they will pay you better. They focus on quality, reliability, and scalability. They will provide you better learning opportunities and you will get more opportunities for the growth, right? They will give you more ownership and more challenging work, right? So switching is difficult, guys, but it is not impossible. Okay, you have to believe yourself and make sure you follow the appropriate strategy. Step number one: fix your fundamentals. Many people think product based companies ask extremely advanced questions, but in reality most candidates fail at basic concepts only. So before anything else, fix your fundamentals. And guys, fundamentals do not mean starting with DSA. Fundamental means understanding core cloud and DevOps concepts deeply. You should always focus on 7 main pillars if you want to switch into the product based company. Pillar number one: you should have the thorough knowledge about any one public cloud platform. It can be either GCP, Microsoft Azure, or AWS. Let's take an example of AWS. See, it's not about only learning EC2, VPC, S3, that's it. Okay, you have to develop the skill of how the three-tier architecture is deployed considering the production environment. You have to think about how the disaster recovery strategy can be developed, right? Along with this, how you will develop end-to-end monitoring system, how you will make sure your complete infrastructure is secure, how you will make sure that you are optimizing the overall cost of your project. So focus on how and why rather than what. Okay, so if you are able to do this, it would be very beneficial for you. Pillar number two, that's Linux. Okay, so generally it's like picking any one operating system. We have two options, either to go with Windows or Linux. But I would say you have to go with Linux because most of the projects do use Linux, right? So you should have thorough knowledge about Linux. Okay, you can't compromise on this pillar. Okay, and the third one is networking. See, everybody says that why do we need networking? Okay, see, whenever you deploy application, it will be deployed on top of your EC2 machine, or it will be deployed on your container or pods, right? So if you think how this communication is going to happen in between two EC2 machines, or in between the client and your EC2 machine or pods, right? There is a IP address. So that is where networking comes into the picture. So networking is also very important. You should know what is IP address, what are the different types of classes of IP addresses, right? You should know how to calculate the CIDR range because that's going to help you to build your networking part. I mean the VPC subnets and all those stuff. And along with this, you should have idea about the DNS service. You should know ports and all those stuff. Then the next pillar is monitoring services. See, whenever you are working on any project, you will be not getting opportunity to deploy or create infrastructure on a regular basis. It's kind of one-time activity where your end-to-end project will be deployed. So once it is deployed, it's our responsibility to make sure that the complete infrastructure is running 24 by 7. And that's where monitoring plays very major role. So you should have the thorough knowledge about how you can apply the monitoring services on top of your project so that you can monitor the different resources which you have created. Either it can be configuring CloudWatch, then using SNS for notification purpose, right? And along with this, using some additional tools like Kibana, Splunk, Dynatrace, Prometheus, Grafana. so that you get some additional benefits. So next comes the security and cost optimization. As I said earlier, whenever you are going to create infrastructure, you have to make sure that it is safe, right? There are no malicious attacks which are going to take place. Even if those attacks are going to take place, you have to make sure you are preventing your infrastructure from that. So you have to study about different security related services, and along with this you have to study about how you can optimize the overall cost of your infrastructure. So study the different services which are present on cloud, using which you will optimize the overall cost. Then the next pillar is scripting. You should have the knowledge about scripting, either it is shell or Python. Lot of people will have the questions like, is it okay to go with shell scripting? Can we skip Python? See, there are different companies which are giving priority to shell, and some are giving priority to Python as well. So I will create separate video for that, for which scripting language you can go with. But for now, it's mandatory skill. If you want to enter in product based company, you should know scripting, either shell or Python. Then we have another pillar, that is the automation tools. You should have the knowledge of different automation tools like Terraform, have the knowledge of Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and other monitoring tools like Prometheus, Grafana, source code management tools like Git and GitHub. This will help you to build the end-to-end automation which is required as a DevOps engineer. Next comes the troubleshooting skills. Product based companies generally love the troubleshooting related questions. Let's take an example like why pod is restarting again and again. So they are looking out for the answer like what are the different solutions or options this candidate have. It's not simply about executing kubectl log command and I will check logs. Right? They want to look out whether this guy is going to try some other solutions or other options or not. For example, let's say the first step is I will for sure check the logs. Along with that, I will describe the pod. I will check if there is any liveness or readiness prop failure. If I'm not getting anything over there, then I will use some monitoring tools. I will check for the exceptions in the logs. If that is also not the issue, then I will check if service limit or resource quota has exceeded, because of which pod is not able to come up, right? There could be the other possible issue as well. Whenever developer gives the deployment, some configurations can be mismatched. Developers might have missed some configuration, so that could be also the one of the possible reason for the pod restart. So you have to make sure you are covering all the angles rather than only giving straightforward answer like I will check logs. Okay. Three main points when you are preparing your resume. Point number one, your resume should be not more than one page. Second is make sure you are adding the bullet points instead of writing the paragraphs. Third is make sure you are adding the numbers. Like for example, you build the CI/CD pipeline, and because of that, you were able to save 30% or the 40% of time. Okay, so try to add action and the impact it has made in your project, and the amount of, let's say, cost or time which you have saved due to this automation. So try to add this kind of stuff in your resume. Once your resume is ready, then move towards the referrals and job application. Referrals work much better than direct application. You can try to use LinkedIn, you can try to build some connections there, try to take the referrals, you can connect with your alumni network, you can connect with your previous colleagues. Many people won't reply, but that's normal, guys. Stay patient, stay professional, and be consistent. Switching from a service-based company to product-based company is not easy, guys, but it is 100% possible. If the thought of switching has come to your mind, then this is your sign. One offer can change your entire career. Stay consistent, keep learning, and keep building. If you have any doubts, drop them in the comment section. And if you found this video useful, then please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I will see you again in my next video. Till then, goodbye.